All right, we're live.
We're live.
Okay, so now first hello everyone, this is Guitar Talk from Gary's Guitars, and today's guest is Serena Hughes.
Serena Hughes.
Okay, guitarist,
Yeah.
singer,
Singer,
songwriter.
guitarist. Yeah.
Mostly you're here because you just happen to wander in, and I'm like, hey, I need a guest.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, sure.
I needed life advice. That's
You needed
why I
something to do.
showed it.
Yes, okay.
I needed a
that,
ride and I needed life advice.
So also, yeah, I was giving some musical advice, and I'm like, wow, this would be great to do for this
Absolutely.
podcast thing. So, like, why not?
Yeah.
All right. So the deal is, what we do is we just sit here talking about guitars, guitar-like things, music, things you plug guitars into, things you plug into guitars, and then you out there can just chime in anytime you like. Ask a question in the live comments. If you're watching this after the fact, which most people actually watch this after the fact, you can just leave something in the comments and we'll get to it, at another time. We also have some regular watchers who watch every week.
Sweet.
And they chime in and say hi.
Oh my God, yeah, there we are.
Berlin. We got Mark in Berlin. Williams local.
Cool.
So they're starting to file in. We got Australians come and watch and stuff like that.
No way.
Too. Yeah, so
That's cool.
So the first thing we gotta do is plug your band.
Yeah. Bad
Okay.
favors.
Bad Favors with it's spelled slightly differently, right?
No, so that's just because that Instagram handle was gone. So we had to throw in the extra
on
S.
Instagram, there's 2 S's. But
Yeah.
that's the important thing. If they're going to find you, it's going to be on Instagram.
Yeah, Bad Favors.
S.
Extra S.
But generally speaking, Bad Favors.
About to have music come out.
Okay. Working on some music, playing some shows.
Mm-hmm.
So you play guitar and sing?
Yep.
Okay. How long have you been playing guitar?
I started in 7th grade,
Oh.
played it for 3 years, then took a long hiatus.
Okay.
And then found your coworker, Emma,
Mm-hmm.
because she worked at White Heron. She worked here, saw me all the time going into White Heron,
Uh-huh.
and then came in here once, and she was like, oh, do you play?
Hey,
Blah,
yeah,
blah,
yeah,
She
yeah.
played bass.
Yeah.
We went over. She just took a chance and assumed I wasn't a serial killer and came to my
Well,
house.
yeah.
And yeah, we started
Make that
bands.
assumption. Yeah. You
Yeah.
don't really give off serial killer vibes, but then again,
You
there's
never
always a
know.
slight risk, though. Yeah.
That's the ones you need to
That's
look
the
out
ones you got to
for.
worry about. Yeah, that's what. Yeah. So you just started a band out of nothing,
Out of nothing.
and now you're 4-piece band, right?
4-piece
Yeah.
band.
And so this is interesting. So you started playing guitar when you were young, and you just kind of quit. Probably. What made you want to start?
I think because our lead guitarist at the time, he was my boyfriend's roommate, and he was playing constantly, and it was making me sad. I just out of nowhere was like, why the hell did I stop?
Yeah.
And I picked it back up.
Okay.
Went through a very tough phase of realizing I was the one kind of didn't have music theory
You
behind
thought you were
me.
the weak link.
I thought I was the weak link. I still go on and off thinking I'm the weak link, but if anything, it's definitely helped me now because I learned from all 3 of them.
Yep. So you're so you write songs as well.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. And you sing.
Mm-hmm.
So that, and I was speaking earlier about this, and this is kind of important when we're talking about like band kind of stuff. About sometimes when you're the center of things, you get to make the rules because you're you write songs, you sing, you put a band together, you get a little clout out of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think a lot of things that help me too is I love listening to band podcasts. No Dogs in Space. You ever listen to that?
No, I don't know that one.
Oh,
Okay,
you gotta check that
Okay.
out. I didn't realize so many bands I love, they all started a band and had like no freaking clue what they were doing.
Yeah, that's true.
Nothing at all.
And those, I mean, looking back on that, I miss those days of not knowing so much and just doing it for fun and just like, hey, I know 3 chords, let's just do it. Yeah.
Well, that's like the boat I'm in, I feel like.
All right. So let's just check in with the room here. Yet some more people filing in. Some more regulars.
I wish I wore a better outfit for this.
Yeah, well, that's okay. You just didn't know you were going to be here.
I'm a school teacher, so I'm still in the overalls.
Did you work today?
Stain.
Oh, you got coffee.
I did work today.
Okay, so you worked at you wear a tie over your.
Oh no, this is it.
That's the look. What do you teach?
This is it. Science.
Science. Okay. Cool. And what ages do you teach? Like
7th grade.
Oh, okay. That
13.
That so that really gets you ready for playing in bands. It's the mentality of a 7th grader and the mentality
very
of,
true. That's very
of a
true.
musician are kind of similar.
It's actually cool because that's the age they do get into instruments too.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of like interesting to see how they admire someone that's in a band and then they have all these millions of ideas for their own band. So
Yeah.
it's cool to kind of watch all that.
And it really takes the mentality of a teenager to want to do this.
It does.
Because we all have that little teenager inside of us,
Yeah.
and that's why we keep doing it.
No,
I
absolutely.
think even folks out there who are, our friend Mike from Hungary. So a friend of ours, Mike, who moved to Hungary, he actually he just moved to Hungary out of nowhere, and now he's but he tunes into the YouTube thing. We get to talk every week.
That's awesome.
But he's a guitar maker, and he played in a lot of bands around here back in the day.
I would love a Hungarian guitar.
Yeah. And last week we learned about goulash.
Oh.
And Jeffrey and Portia. So just the regulars just kind of chime in and say hi. And so I usually have a couple of topics that, things that I want to talk about. But since let's see, so you play guitar for a few years, then you stopped. How long have you been back at it? Like playing, writing songs, that kind of thing?
Maybe like 2 or 3 years. 2 or 3
years. So you kind of have this false start and then the real start.
Yeah.
Right.
Very false start. Mm-hmm. Whoever taught me how to play at that time was going about it the wrong way.
Yeah. That's
really wrong way.
Possible.
Well, I'm realizing it now from all the things I'm trying to correct.
Mm-hmm. There's that too. Sometimes it's the blind leading the blind. But also I learned piano and I took piano lessons, and I was learning classical piano at first, and I just couldn't do it because I didn't listen to the music. I didn't know what it's supposed to sound like because I was 14 years old trying to play Bach. Forget about it. And then I ended up quitting those lessons, and then I got a music teacher who happened to be a jazz pianist. And he was like, just play whatever you want. What do you want to play? I'm like, Beatles. He's like, okay, let's play the Beatles. And then I just learned a Beatles song day one with him. And then, So that's important, the instruction. But what I wanted to say is, what do you have any, as a guitarist, do you have any questions? Do you have what's been haunting you in your sound, in your music, in your choice of guitars or amplifiers or pedals, any of that kind of stuff?
Well, I talked with you earlier. Mm-hmm. I'm a squeezer.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so that's, and I didn't realize how much recently until a show where I was barring, it was just bars, the whole song. Yeah. And I literally had to tap out the last couple of seconds because, my hand can go on. Well, we kind of figured that out.
So that's pressing too hard. You only have to press hard enough to make the note ring. And if you press too hard, you bend it out of tune.
Yeah.
So let's do the rig rundown. What do you play? What kind of guitar do you play? And what do you play into?
I have the blue Gretsch from here.
Oh, you got a Gretsch? Yeah, that's right. Oh, yeah, the Gretsch with the 2 different pickups. Yeah, that one.
Yep.
Yeah, that's a good one.
And I actually just got an old hot rod with my amp.
Oh yeah, the hot rod, the Fender
that I had to bring here because I thought I stole a deal for it and. Still needed a lot.
It was tough, yeah. So all those hot rod DeVilles, maybe this is a moment to talk about so Fender, here we go, the history of the hot rod.
Oh, okay.
So Fender in the early 90s was getting, grunge was happening. Grunge was the thing, harder rock. Everyone wanted distorted sounds. And there was no Fender amp that made a distorted sound. Mm-hmm. They're all just kind of the traditional Fender amps.
Right.
And Marshall and other companies were just eating Fender's lunch. And so Fender's like, we have to figure out what to do. So they stole a designer from Marshall and they redesigned their amp line and they made 3 different versions of it. And one of it's the Hot Rod DeVille. And then there's the DeVille, the Hot Rod Deluxe, I think they called it. And they meant these amps to be modern. Yeah. So they have what we call channel switching. They have a distorted channel and they have a boost channel. So you can get it even louder if you have to. And then a more contemporary, at the time in the 1990s, a more contemporary sound. So a variety of sounds out of one amp. And because music was really loud in that era, they're really loud amps.
Really loud. I think when we're at a show, I literally only need to put it at 2.
Yeah, right.
2. Yeah, it's crazy.
And you're at home, it's on 1.
Yeah.
Crazy loud. But they're fine amps, except they're all about 15 years old, and they all need a little bit of work. And they all need the same things. And so the guy who works here repairing amps, he just says, I just got to fix all the little things that are wrong. And then they're fine again for another time. So, yeah, you had to go through that process.
Yeah.
Lewis says hi and says, don't forget to hit the like button. That's good. You got to remind people of that. This is YouTube. and we have to be liked. We live in the attention economy. This is the information economy is over. This is the attention economy.
Right.
So you only make money if you get attention.
Yeah, I mean, I see that with 7th graders. We can't even watch a movie without them 2 minutes into it being so antsy and squirrely. It's really sad.
That's a good point.
I mean, it's not their fault. I'm close to them on that level, to be honest, just because of phones and stuff. Well, that's why getting into an instrument is good. It rips you away.
Well, here's something there. And this is what I talk about. Like the ukulele is pretty popular now.
Yeah.
And that's because it's an easy instrument to get started on. Like within a couple of days, you could play a song.
Right.
But if you hand a guitar to a 7th grader and say, like, here, play this, it's going to sound really bad for a while.
Yeah.
It's going to hurt. Your fingers are going to bleed. But in about 6 months, you might be able to play a song.
And that's I was giving like really short lessons to this kid with severe ADHD because he needed some outlet. And he couldn't get past the recognition for it like instantly. Like he needed what's the word I'm looking for? You need the validation of being good instantly, which unfortunately, that's again that short attention span. You can't wait and work on it.
What kind of music does your guest play? So how would you describe your genre?
Oh God. So I personally think we're heading into a psych rock.
Oh,
but my bassist who's sitting on the couch, I know she's definitely going because we're all over the place.
Yeah.
We have done more classic rock rooted kind of songs. Our lead guitarist is thinks he's Jerry, so we get a lot of dead roots come out. Our drummer loves reggae, so sometimes that'll come out, and we do got some folk roots. But I think I feel like some of our new songs were the psych rock route.
Well, that's cool. That's ambitious. Too, right? Yeah.
Well, I think it's fun to not label a genre too, because then it doesn't restrict us as well.
Yeah,
especially
that's true,
even music people. We can't just stick with one genre.
Especially these days, everything's a mashup.
Yeah.
So, like, well, here's a story about. So I don't know if you know this or not. I lived in Russia.
I did not.
Yeah.
How was that?
So, it was amazing, of course. This is many years ago now.
Did you play in a band in Russia?
I worked in a studio in Russia.
Oh,
I worked as a producer, arranger kind of thing, and then I also would help people ghost write lyrics in English for like pop songwriters and stuff.
No way.
Yeah. So, anyways, I'm not supposed to talk about it because ghostwriting. I'm not supposed to. So they paid me to keep my name off the. So anyway, I was going to say that one day this other engineer I work with, he told me this really great thing, and I was like, oh, that makes perfect sense. Which is, he said, because of the Soviet Union, everything was closed, and then like after the Soviet Union, everything like opened up. He said, he said Pink Floyd and the Beatles showed up on the same day. He goes, all Western music just came to us in a pile, and we didn't know what to do with it. Yeah. So like for us, or like me being my age, being a middle-aged person, I remember when there was no such thing as Nirvana, and then there was such a thing as Nirvana, and then there was no such thing as whatever, as Radiohead, and then there was a Radiohead. Right. It's a progression. It's things like, one thing informs the next thing. But now there's just such a big compost pile of music. It's hard to make sense of like, are we a rock band? Like you put on the classic rock station, you're like, this is good.
I will say one band that always impresses me with swapping from genres so perfectly. Have you listened to King Gizzard and Lizard Wizard?
Never heard of that.
Oh, you need to. They started like more of indie, moved into psych rock, then out of nowhere put out a metal album, a good like metal kind of punkish album, and then back to like insane psychedelics. And to me, that's like shows everyone's diverse and everyone's open to new things in bands.
But that's also genre bending kind of thing too. Like we're talking about, like just mashing everything up right away. That's pretty cool. And you got to have talent to do that too. Oh, this is a good point that Mike says the Paul Revere designed Fender 75 series amp of the 80s was killer for clean and distortion. Grab one before the world finds out. So this is true. And the Fender 75 was Fender in the 80s, they made like the Fender version of the Mesa Boogie amp. Have you heard of Mesa Boogie or Boogie? They call them Mesa now.
Okay.
So Fender made this thing. This is a compact little amp that could do a lot of stuff. And I think, if I'm not correct, Mike had one, and you had to. There might be a couple like modifications you have to do to really make it sing, but
Right.
they're out there and people don't know it. So that's a good little tip.
I didn't know that.
Lewis says, as a fan of goth, industrial, heavy metal, I find myself playing blues. Poorly,
Love
I might
that.
add, but I'm only 2 years into playing the bass guitar, and I'm absolutely in love with playing guitar. That's true, too.
I love that.
I think the music we play and the music we listen to don't have to be the same thing, and sometimes
No.
we're suited for something.
No.
I like playing, actually, there's some music I like playing that I hate listening to.
Right.
I used to go to this thing. I went to college in Orono, Maine, the center of Maine, you know, and there was this, and this was in the early 90s. There was this folk jam in the bagel shop in Bangor, Maine. Right?
Oh, what bagel shop?
There used to be like a bagel shop right downtown in Bangor. Right now, there's a Thai restaurant there or something.
Okay.
But anyways, it used to be the bagel shop.
Yeah.
And they had I think, you know, on the outside of the building was Hebrew lettering and everything. It was real authentic.
Okay, that's
shop,
good
yeah.
bagels.
Yeah.
I would know them from New York.
Okay. So yeah, real bagels. Anyways, the guy owned the instrument shop upstairs from there, and they'd let him use the bagel shop for a folk jam. So I go to this folk jam, and there'd be these guys old as dirt, and this was like 30 years ago, and these guys are 80. And so they were around like when there were, you know, Bangor was logging, and like, you know, like they were around in the early 20th century. And they played these songs I'd never heard before. They had like 2 chords, 3 chords. And I just had such a blast playing that music with them and learning about it and just trying to, and I could play bass well enough at the time. I was, just learning, but all you need is 2 notes. You don't have to play in tune and that kind of, so that really old folk music, it was great. I couldn't listen or play that music today, but in that situation, it was just wonderful.
Right. Oh, I can't imagine.
So that's what I mean about,
but I'm sure you also, like, there's something you pick up from every genre that you can incorporate into what you're really loving.
Mm-hmm. True, too, yeah.
You know?
And then the Lewis mentioning blues music. I think blues music is the DNA of all American music right now. So if you say you don't like blues music, it's probably something wrong with you. I mean, you don't have to love it, but you have to realize that it is the stuff that American music is made out of. It's 120, 30 years old.
It took me a while to realize how much music I listen to that the root is coming from blues.
Yeah, and even because you can listen to like whatever indie rock and go like, well, this isn't blues, this is the opposite. But no, it's because it came from that,
Right.
And it all came from the blues.
I never realized until I started replaying a couple of years ago how fun playing the blues is. That's too, like probably we're not a blues band, but that's definitely like my favorite thing to play now.
Yeah, it's great because it's also like a lowest common denominator. Anyone can play the blues, kind of. Although I should bring Mike back in the conversation here because Mike moved to Hungary, and I was like, you know what, you're gonna love it there, but because I lived in Eastern Europe, I said, nobody can. You're gonna miss swing music. You're gonna miss blues music. People there can't play, and it's true.
I think it's the only original. I shouldn't say that at a guitar shop, but it is America's one of our own originating.
Music genres. Right. There's that, but it also, it germinated here, but it came from Africa too. So that's the other thing. Like nothing originated in America, except corn, and I think corn's from here. Sunflowers are from North America too. But other than that, like everything kind of floated in from somewhere else.
We got corn.
Yeah, corn. We exported corn to the world. There was no corn in Europe.
Didn't know that.
Yep, they all came from the North America side. The potato is from South America. So the Europeans didn't have potatoes until after the.
I didn't know that.
I don't know. Am I lying here, folks?
Also, another vegetable fact that I could be lying on. Apparently, carrots used to be toxic, but then they genetically modified them. Well,
maybe
made the carrot that we know and love today.
Well, the tomato is a nightshade, right? And those are usually poisonous. Yeah,
I should know that in science.
You're actually that is actual science.
Yep.
It's in the nightshade family. All right, let's check in with the room here and see what else we got. Oh, no other let me just check. Every once in a while, the comments thing doesn't update well. To repeat myself, Mark, you said you're really going to miss R&B, right? Hank Williams sounds like James Brown to me now. Yes, R&B. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's the feel that So blues, but like R&B, because we can get through like a blues, 1-4-5 kind of thing, and even if it's Hungarians or Russians or something, it's a very, but to really get the R&B feel in music,
right? Yeah, I guess I never thought of that.
Yeah, and
but then I wonder what's the music we're kind of lacking here that's more dominant.
I think a classical music background is for sure. Man, they in their schools they learn a lot more because it's their music, it's European music,
right?
But it really creates a sense of discipline.
Yeah.
Because classical music, you can't. So blues music is so great to be American music because it's just kind of like, hey, let's just do this.
Yeah.
Make something up and move on from there. Where Europeans are like, let's learn this for 8 years and then have a recital.
Yeah, that's very true.
All right. So the other thing, and I'll put this out to the crowd at large. So it's 6:23. We've been here for 20 minutes already.
Okay.
This is great. Time flying by.
Very fun. Right.
So I'll do a little callback. This is Gary's Guitars. This is Serena sitting here with me, and we're talking about music, of course, and guitars. And then also we're going to talk about like and subscribe and all that stuff. If you have any questions, if you want to add to just what we're talking about, just throw it in the comments. I'm checking on the comments. Regulars know this, but I got because we get new people every week.
Yeah.
And,
you got it.
All right. What about pedals? You use any pedals?
You're gonna be really disappointed in me that I don't know the name of my favorite pedal, but I have a muff. I
got a big muff, yeah. So that's a fuzz
I have
distortion.
The wah.
You got a wah pedal. That's
and
good.
Then I have.
What does your favorite pedal do?
Oh, she's chorus pedal, but
but
what's the kind that I have?
You got a Boss chorus?
Either way, I've been really feeling the kind of shoegazy 80s sound lately. That's giving to me.
Yeah. Well, so chorus, definitely has an 80s sound for sure. Mm-hmm. But people are getting into modulation stuff more. So when we talk about modulation, we're talking about chorus, flange, vibrato, tremolo, those kind of things that so like reverb takes your sound and kind of makes it big and splashy. And all that.
Which I didn't realize how important it was.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, there's that too. Yeah.
I used to just play without any of it on.
Yeah. Well, that's brave too. Play with no effects.
I don't think I knew it was brave though. It was just like diving in.
That's when we do the bravest things. That's why 18-year-olds fight wars because they don't know they're being brave. They don't understand what they're risking.
Right. Well, that's why you see like these little kids just ripping because they're just like whatever. Do it.
Yeah.
Just like, I'm so jealous.
So chorus is it's a modulation kind of pedal. It's definitely got 80s vibes. People are getting back into that, and I think in the pedal world, how people are so crazy about pedals and buying pedals. I think people kind of used up all the reverbs now, and they just moved on to modulation effects because they want to get that's the place where people are focusing in on effects.
No, I normally only have 2 or 3 on stage. And there are times when I'm tempted to have. I know. But our lead guitarist right now has this kind of organ pedal, which I'm obsessed with.
It imitates the Electro-Harmonix one, maybe. It's called the it's
red and white.
The B9, I think that's the one.
Yeah, and it's got all different kind of instruments you can mimic with it.
Yeah, synthesizers or organs? What do you think?
What do you think? I think it's different organs.
Well, there's one that's a bunch of different organs. There's one that's a bunch of different string synthesizers.
I think he has the organ one then because I feel like it's only organs.
Yeah.
That one is fun. We were doing Strawberry Hills on that.
Strawberry Fields?
Strawberry Fields.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
on camera, Strawberry Hills. That's not good. Strawberry Fields, yes.
Yeah. Oh, so
that's a cool one. Yeah, exactly. That was.
Yeah, that
I love that
work
one
too to play that on guitar. Yeah. That is. All right, let's catch up with the room. Evening from London, JJ UK. He's a regular chiming in, saying hi. JJ, this is Serena. She's here talking about music. I just ordered a new pedal called the Texas Twang from Pedal Pawn in the UK. It's like SRV sound treble booster. Are you familiar with Stevie Ray Vaughan?
Yes.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah. Even though I just called Strawberry Fields Strawberry Hills.
Strawberry Hills.
I swear.
No, you were mixing up Salisbury Hill and Strawberry
Yeah,
Fields.
yeah, sure. That's
So
exactly
two
definitely
very,
what I was doing.
Both songs have a very sentimental mentality to it. Yeah. Stevie Ray Vaughan sound. That's it. Jimi Hendrix, of course, just kind of he brought the blues back into his generation. Stevie Ray Vaughan to that generation. And unfortunately, I'd have to admit, begrudgingly, that John Mayer is the guy who brought the blues back for the 2000s, and I hate
You think that's true? You're saying?
Yeah,
I would 100% agree. I'm not like an obsessive John Mayer fan.
Yeah,
but of course, like I've followed Dead and Company, and
I
like how he doesn't make it the John Mayer show too.
He just plays the role.
He's just a really freaking skilled guitarist that I think is cool for.
And so
us
he
to
came
have.
out of that. Yeah, he loves Stevie Ray Vaughan. He loves Jimi Hendrix, and he brought. And to a generation, he's brought that kind of thing back again. So you got to give him credit.
You do.
Even though he seems like kind of a jerk, but sometimes he doesn't seem like a jerk too.
I feel like he's grown up a lot.
He has. He quit drinking. I think that's important.
Yeah.
For some people, should quit drinking. Some people should drink more.
I just think for the shoes he's filling and to not make it all about him either.
That's true.
He knows that he's placing someone and.
So you're a Dead fan? Is that what you're saying?
I'm not. I'm making myself sound like I'm a huge Deadhead, but like of course I love Grateful Dead.
Okay, but so the question is Bruce Hornsby still playing with that group? I don't, because he was doing keyboards for a while.
Yeah.
And so just imagine seeing Bruce Hornsby and John Mayer playing with the Grateful Dead.
Right.
How about the Pretenders? Yes, that's an excellent use of chorus.
Yeah.
And you know the Pretenders?
Yeah, I know.
Yes.
I do. I actually just watched. I had, of course, when you have a revival of a musician and then you're obsessed with them that whole month and then they fades away and the next one comes up. I had a revival of the Pretenders a couple months ago because I watched the new Sex Pistols show, Pistol, which I heard is kind of a little inaccurate. From
of course. Ryan. Yeah. It's
gonna be either way, I didn't realize all of her ties with the punk world before they became the Pretenders. I thought that was so cool.
Yeah. Lemmy played bass for her or something, or she was
no
Lemmy.
way.
Yeah,
I didn't know.
She and Lemmy were friends way back when they played together, and maybe he roadied for her or she roadied for him or something at one time too. Yeah, she was right in with the London.
Cool.
Yeah.
And what's his name? Malcolm McLaren.
So
she was the only one that could play, and he didn't want to give her a chance.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Well, that's the funny. You mentioned that Johnny Rotten said that that wasn't that accurate, because it wasn't that accurate the first time around either. Because of Malcolm McLaren, it was all a bunch of lies.
That's very true.
So, but I can understand that. But it makes great fiction too, or moderate fiction. What was I going to say about the Pretender? Yes, anyone out there who hasn't listened to Learn to Crawl in a while, it is just top 10 record, maybe. Yeah,
she is just like, talk about a unique female voice too.
Yeah,
I love that.
She's still doing it too. Still out there playing.
Good for her.
She actually, she played. It's years ago now, but they come around here sometimes. So if you see her around,
no way.
Yeah. I'm currently running. This is Lewis says I'm currently running 20 pedals on my bass. 10 are conditioning the signal from EQ to booster. A parallel circuit. Whoa, 20 pedals.
That sounds like a little stressful to keep up with.
Yeah, maybe.
I would forget.
So what I did was first of all, I used to be like, I don't need pedals. I plug right into the amp and brutally, And then you're like, okay, one distortion pedal or something. And then you add a one pedal. And then you're like, I want a tuner pedal.
I'm creeping up to that.
But then, so the next step where you're creeping, I'll tell you the direction you're creeping in.
You're
like, it really sucks setting all this stuff up. I need a pedal board.
And
you get the pedal board because when you set up, you just want to just put it down and and then you'll notice there's space on the pedal board. And you're like, that
doesn't look good.
Yeah, now I can add a pedal. And there's no extra work. Right now, if you add a pedal, there's extra work involved.
Well, honestly, that's why I've been playing with just the chorus and the muff.
Yeah.
Because I'm like,
put the wall away for now.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. But they're all out there lined up in front of you. And so then you get to that point where you fill the pedal board. And then you're like, maybe I need a bigger pedal board. And
I
so
don't know if I can handle that.
well, what I did is I got the bigger pedal board, but I stopped. So I think I can fit 6 pedals on my board. And I was like, one has to come off before one goes on.
Okay, that's a good.
And so I can't use flange and chorus at the same time. I have to swap them on and off. But yeah, there has to be and some people don't have a line, obviously. Have you played a Princeton chorus? Are you familiar with the Princeton chorus? So Fender made an amp in the 90s. They called the Princeton. It was a solid state amp, really loud. The Princeton chorus had chorus built in. It's an extreme chorus, yeah.
I'm gonna have to look into that.
Maybe if you like
yeah,
chorus.
no, I love it. But I'm a little nervous that maybe this is just a music phase I'm loving that's now gonna fizzle out, and then I'm gonna be stuck on,
Yeah, well, sometimes things should come and go, and usually the best things stay, I guess. What's your next pedal, do you think? What are you interested in?
I want something really kind of like the Oregon one. Something funky that I can
something that does a weird sound with it. Well, there's a lot of stuff out there now.
I know. There's too much to pick from.
Mike says, I'm currently running 3 strings on my bass. Okay, so he's simplifying.
That's cool.
Yeah.
What's that one guy that plays with the 1 string on his
one
guitar?
string, that is...
Chicken in the Corn Man?
Yeah, that's Slappy 1 string.
Yeah, see, I think that's so cool when you
that is cool, yeah.
Play a song people enjoy and bring it down to the minimum.
But then there was the dude from Morphine. You ever hear that?
Oh yeah, yes.
They were from Boston, and so people around here remember they're actually a larger blues band that kept getting smaller, and they ended up being a bass, a baritone saxophone, and a drummer.
Whoa!
And they're incredible. And the bass player had 2 strings.
Damn.
Yeah. So that was a cool band.
Oh, I just thought of this. Kind of cool. My roommate, her mom is a professional oboe player, so she's gonna hop on one of our songs with the oboe.
Wow, that is something.
Yeah.
Because oboe is a interesting. Oh, that's the air compressor.
And we made this one song. It's like kind of Middle Eastern tuney sounding.
Okay. So,
and she said the oboe would be perfect for that.
Do a bunch of half stepping.
Yeah.
The oboe has that kind of like sad, lonesome sound too, doesn't it?
Well, my roommate says she can hear one literally from like a mile, like know that there's an oboe. It's such a distinct
orchestra, and there's one oboe player.
Yeah, she can point it out.
Yeah, that's true. Or in a Beatles song or something.
True.
Yeah, oboe is very difficult to play as well.
I can imagine.
Yeah. It is a. What is the joke? There's a joke here. It's from The Tempest, and an ill wind that blows no good. Well, the oboe is an ill wind that nobody blows good. I don't know, whatever. You know this.
I get where you're going with it.
Okay. There's an oboe joke there somewhere.
Hey, I got mad respect for the oboe players because you don't meet them.
There's that, and you can't really jam on the oboe. You really have to have,
Yeah.
It's just so difficult to play. Yeah. You can't be like, oh, I'm gonna play a little oboe. It's like, no, you don't play a little oboe. You either play the oboe well or you don't play it at all. Pedals have become like baseball cards. That's true too.
Very true.
A lot of people.
I didn't want to be starting with again in the last 2 years that person that goes and blows like $1,000 on pedals and then looks like they know everything and have it all set up. So that was why I kind of slowed down.
I think when we talk about shoegazing as a genre, it really was they were looking at the pedals while they're playing.
Right.
That's the whole shoe.
Oh, no way. Yeah. I actually had no clue.
Because those guys would have those huge pedal boards. And you go see them and they'd be hunched over, right? They'd be playing like and just standing like one spot, just hunched over. Because they're watching their pedals and they're gonna make them do all the right things. So I think that's really was the.
Wow, I didn't put that together. So for so long, I just was
shoegazing is just like
But I always get what's the main difference between that and like synth pop? Because aren't they kind of one and the same?
Well, shoegazing is usually guitars. They'll have a keyboard player maybe, but synth pop is generated on synthesizers.
Okay.
And shoegazing is more kind of has a little harder edge to it, right? They like to go into the dirgy.
Yeah.
Caught your lyre for a change. Hi from Sydney. Okay, James in Sydney says hi.
Sweet.
So, hey everyone, just joining us. This is Serena. She's a singer, guitarist. Just happened to wander by at the right time, and I was like, "Hey, be my guest," because First of all, because it's great to talk to musicians.
Absolutely.
It's great to talk to female musicians because there's a deficit definitely.
Yeah.
And so any encouragement and help I can give,
Absolutely.
because we're also talking about we're also talking about like playing in a band and that kind of stuff. Yeah. So let's go back to this because you had this little time you're on stage and you felt like you were squeezing the guitar too hard and kind of like just not delivering, not performing well enough.
Yes. Well, the squeezing was an issue. Mm-hmm. Literally never squeezed that hard in my life. Yeah. I know it's been a problem in general, even when I play alone, because my hand will tire quick. But this was so extreme. It was like, oh my God, I'm going to have to stop playing.
Yeah, so it's
as a rhythm guitarist on stage.
Yeah, some of it is nerves, That's kind of. So if anyone out there has any advice on how to beat those stage fright nerves, let us know.
Yeah, please.
The orchestra tunes off the oboe. Okay, double reeds and fiendish little instruments. So the double reed, so it actually has a different kind of reed than like saxophones or whatever.
Oh, okay.
It has this weird reed that like they had to. So when you have a reed, it's basically your tongue touching a reed and you blowing, across it. And this has this weird reed where the reeds have to like touch each other or something. It is just impossible to play.
Huh. I know nothing about.
I played one and sent in the clowns with the Jethros. Yes. So Mike played
clowns.
Yeah.
That's my Monday going to work soundtrack.
Send in the clowns. That's a sad way to start the week.
I don't actually. Don't worry.
Japanese Strats. Okay, here's James asking. Japanese Strats, but their guitars in general get a lot of hype. Do you agree? By the way, good job having musicians on. Always good to get them exposure. Yes, exposure. So on Instagram, we got to get you some followers.
Yeah.
Bad Favors with 2 S's.
With 2 S's.
That's the right Bad Favors.
Mm-hmm. You're doing a good favor.
Yeah,
for
do a
yourself
good favor. Yeah.
So just like favors.
Go to Bad Favors. Let's try to get you another 20 follows right now. Come on,
Heck
everybody.
Yeah, we need
but
it.
Don't close YouTube. You gotta stay here for now.
Yeah.
But we'll remind them again toward the end. But yeah, well, we got a question here about Japanese-made Strats. Do you know anything about that?
Absolutely not.
I'm about to tell you all about it.
Please do.
So Fender in the early 80s, Fender was having trouble as a company.
Okay.
They were just about out of business. They were owned by CBS, the TV company.
Wow.
Yeah. And it was called the CBS Musical. Well, they bought them because, they had a TV company and they wanted to like own the musical instrument company, then have everyone performing on their TV shows, be playing have that synergy. We can sell our instruments. So it seemed like a good idea at the time. And so they bought a bunch of music. They bought the Hammond Organ Company. They bought the Leslie Speaker Company. They bought Fender Musical Instruments. And they made this conglomerate that was really doing badly. And so they had a CEO, however, who was he came from Yamaha and knew that the Japanese could make really good guitars. And so he had Fender, and then it's a long story, but he did some experimenting with Japanese production, but he negotiated a deal where the employees could buy out the company. So 23 employees, I think, bought out the company from CBS, and they got everything except for the factory and the parts. And so they had a guitar company and they had no guitars. But Bill Schultz, knew Japanese production. He's like, we'll get the Japanese factory to make them for now, and then we'll go back to making them in the U.S. And these Japanese-made Fenders have become legendary. Some people say these are the best Fender guitars ever. And they've actually, this year, they're reissuing the Made in Japan Vintage Reissue Series reissue. So they're actually reissuing a reissue.
Wow.
Yeah.
So the next 10 years, it'll be a reissue of the reissued.
Exactly. We're going to be in the future. We will be nostalgic for things that haven't happened yet.
Yeah.
That's how reissues are going to get. We're going to be like, oh, things will be so great. So the question is it worth the hype? Kinda is.
Is it?
These are really nice guitars. They have a unique feel, they're slightly different than the American-made Fenders, and they still make them. So they made this deal with this company in Japan to make guitars together, and they still, they make the Japanese Fenders in Japan, and they make some guitars for the U.S. market still.
Gotcha. Cool.
And
I didn't know any of that.
So you play Gretsch, And any other guitars? You play an acoustic guitar at all? Or
I actually only have the Gretsch right now.
no, one guitar. Wow.
One guitar.
That is really unusual for guitarists.
That's just because I'm very broke.
Okay, there's that.
Anyone want to sponsor a teacher's band?
Yeah. School teacher in a rock band.
So I had to sell a couple.
Oh, okay.
They were pretty janky, like passed down, like not really.
Yeah, nothing special.
But
I would have to say, guitar.
Yeah, you're gonna get all these guitar knowledgeable people are gonna get mad at me for not knowing this too. I clearly don't know any of the basis of that, but. Okay. What is that one that Kurt Cobain made with Fender and he blended?
Jagstain?
Yes.
Yeah. Half Jaguar, half Mustang.
Yes. Yeah. That's like my dream guitar right now.
Oh, yeah. And that's entirely possible.
Yeah.
They've reissued that now, too.
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
Yep. And, yeah, that is pretty cool. And people are really digging. So we call those offset guitars because rather than look like they're carved out of a. So basically, if you look at any guitar, there's two circles that are joined together. And then if you look at, say, for example, well, I guess we'll talk about this. Let's look at this guitar, which is a baritone guitar. So even though this is still two circles, but it's been cut into, right?
I guess I never thought of it like that.
So yeah, so there's two circles, but we made this little thing here and this little thing here, and we streamlined it. But so most of the Fender guitars, or most guitars, fit into that design. We call one the upper bout and one the lower bout. And that's going back. And so this guitar kind of looks like yours a little bit, right?
Yeah, that's my, yeah.
This one here is what we call an offset guitar. There is not, you can't really see two circles in this because they took, hold this for a second. I'll demonstrate. They took the two sides and then went like that. So they made it, instead of based on a straight line through the middle and two lines going through that, the lines are offset from each other. So what we call the Jazzmaster, the Jaguar, some what else fits in that category? Some of these Mustang. We got a bunch of them here. This is a weird Squire. They used to call those the offset Fenders.
Wow.
For years, no one wanted them.
Yeah.
Probably the reason Kurt Cobain played them was he could afford them because you could get them at pawn shops because nobody wanted them. Right. Now they've suddenly become very desirable. They've gotten very popular in the guitar world.
Yeah. I think another one I would want, no one in particular, but I need a hollow body. So I could I've been getting into kind of rockabilly.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's fun. Yeah.
Gretsch makes some nice hollow body guitars. Gretsch is known more for their hollow bodies than their solid bodies.
Really?
Yeah. That's so like to see those Gretches up there. Yeah, that's the kind of
yeah, those are sweet.
A broke. I don't know what that means, but it's okay that Gretsch blue one is great. Gretsch blue one. I saw.
Oh, do they mean because this one's in blue? Or does it mean no?
No. Well, anyways, this is so you have something like this, except you have the P90 pickup in the neck. Is that the one you have? And then you have two different pickups here, or do you have?
No, I have this one.
Oh, this is what you have. Yeah. Okay, so you got two humbuckers.
Yeah.
This is a great deal too because
you
got it in blue.
Yeah.
Sparkly blue.
Yeah, it's got little sparkles. That was the sell point.
Yeah, it looks cool too. This one has kind of a pinkish beige to it too.
Yeah, I like that.
The great thing about these is, so a lot of Gretsch guitars have weirdly shaped and slightly different sounding pickups. These they put kind of Gibson style pickups in it.
Okay.
Which are the most ubiquitous humbucking pickup around. So you can swap these pickups out easily if you want to like get a different sound.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So this is a great. These retail for $379 ish, and it's a great little guitar. It's kind of halfway between a Fender and a Gibson in some ways. So does it have? It's just volume and tone, a simple elegance to it, and it's upgradable. Mm-hmm. But yeah, the Jagstain, that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah.
So we're going to take up a collection. Anyone out there want to help?
Yeah,
pay
please.
For the Jags. First, you got to go to Instagram, like their band.
Yeah, you do.
Give us her guitar. She didn't mean to say blue guitar.
Oh.
Yeah, Gretsch is a great guitar.
Yeah, she probably has the same one I do then.
Why do so many people bash Gibson quality? I just serviced my friend's Blue Burst standard. It measures damn near perfect. Setup was a joy. Easy to do in like 10 minutes. Okay, that's a good point. Gibson has taken it on the chin a lot lately. You're familiar with Gibson guitars, of course.
Yes.
Gibson made some bad business decisions. And yeah, people like to gang up on Gibson for some reason.
I think because that, at least how I thought of it when I wasn't playing,
Yeah, right. Uh-huh.
that's the like main iconic band Fender, like the two names
Gibson,
that
Fender,
anyone that doesn't play still kind of knows.
Yeah.
And so I feel like I don't know, maybe people are like, oh, that's the mainstream guitar everyone's going for.
Yeah, sometimes you want to kind of bash whoever the market leader is. That's true. They did make some mistakes, but yeah, no, Gibson's been making guitars for 100 years, and they've made some of the best guitars ever.
Yeah.
So
I'm definitely not.
That's not
insulting Gibson.
No, I mean someone was asking why that happens. But yeah, there are some Gibsons that are weird that Gibson made a couple bad decisions. The Robo tuners really piss people off here.
Robo? No.
They had these tuners that would tune your guitar automatically.
Oh yeah, that sounds sketchy.
But like some people would be like playing a show, and then the guitar would just retune itself to open G like out of nowhere. And
I don't even understand how that would work.
Yeah. Well, it's like how your tuner and you hit the note and it tells you to move up and down. Well, it hears the note and moves up and down by itself.
Yeah, I don't like that.
I don't like that either. Yeah, and so people only took a few people. Yeah, well, there's that too. Yeah. Well, for example, if you talk about like electric cars, I own an electric car, and people are like, "Oh, electric cars, those things catch fire, they blow up." There's been like 2 electric cars have ever caught fire, but like everyone's heard about it, and they're like, "Oh my god, that's what's going to happen. You're going to drive an electric car, and it's going to catch fire." And the same thing with the Gibson. Oh, you're going to get a Gibson, and it's got robo.
Someone told me about my hot rod actually, and I was like,
"Oh yeah."
It's just gonna burst, like it's just gonna
like
blow
burst
up
into flames. Yeah. But it's just like it's a legend, and so the same thing with like Gibson. 99% of Gibson guitars are excellent, and there's 1% that weren't, and everyone's kind of picking on those. Let's see what else is going on. To me, it's because PRS is less expensive and has better finish than Gibson. Okay, you know about PRS, Paul Reed Smith guitars? They were a company that came around in the very early 90s, and they kind of refined a few of Gibson's ideas and made them a little more streamlined, a little lighter, easy to hold, a slightly different scale length. They kind of, and people really went for them pretty hard. So we have one over here.
Oh,
you can check out.
Yeah, I'll have to.
If you'd like to. But you should, if you got your heart set on the jack stand, you should do that because.
Yeah, I know.
It really helps to, if you kind of like want something and then you get it, and you can get this kind of psychological advantage out of getting that thing.
Right.
Yeah.
We'll get there one day. Maybe tomorrow if I get a lucky donor.
That is LG battery thing for the electric car. Well, whatever. Well, let's not get into electric car debate here, because the gasoline cars travel with a giant barrel of highly flammable fuel in them. They are more dangerous than an electric car by far. We're just used to having them around, so everyone's like, "Oh my god, the electric car's gonna get you." Well.
No, I drive a truck, and I'm the first to say I'd probably rather electric. Things eating away at my money.
There's that too, gas money. You got a big truck, right?
Yeah. That's a 40-minute drive to work. That's like a ton of gas. Yeah, it's a guzzler.
All right. Let's see here. Any other? I think you have your guests play a little jam at the end of the broadcast. Yeah, we're not ready for that.
We're not ready.
But you can go check out the Instagram. Do you have any other social media kind of stuff?
We're only on Instagram. But we're within the month about to come out with music on Spotify.
Okay.
As soon as it's recorded, it's going to be on.
Okay, so you're going to put some music on Spotify.
So if you follow us, then you'll get the updates.
Yeah.
And show updates, but we are local. So.
This is also something I got to tell people, and this is my old man rock story again.
No, please go for it.
Facebook is uncool, but there's 1 billion users.
Yeah, I know. I got to get back on that.
And that's what I was playing the show. Like, hey, do you have a Facebook event for the show? They're like, no, I don't like Facebook.
Yeah.
Well, you don't have to like Facebook, but it's like,
right.
Do you want to reach 1 billion people or not?
No, you're right. You're right.
So, anyways, let's see. Let's check back in with the room here. So, we are caught up. The switch garbage, but can be replaced with a quality one. The switch is garbage. Probably talking. Oh, the jazz thing. Oh, so people start talking about the jazz thing.
Oh, what were they saying?
It's a versatile guitar. Someone said,
Okay.
and then someone said the switch is garbage, but it can be replaced. Okay, maybe. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So, because it has like a Gibson style switch on it, I think maybe. That's. I don't remember now. I have to look at it because it does. But yeah, it's a.
This might be a stupid question.
Yeah.
What makes a switch garbage?
Just a general kind of quality thing. So, well, here's something. And I was explaining this to someone. Everything, guitars, Teslas, iPhones, anything that's manufactured, it can be boiled down to 3 aspects. Aspect 1 is design. Aspect 2 is materials, and aspect 3 is workmanship. And everything can be viewed through that lens. And optimally, you want the best design, the best materials, and the best workmanship.
Right.
But sometimes if you cheap out on one, you can still get by.
Yeah.
But if you cheap out on 2, then yeah. So like if there's a design problem with a switch and it's made by children in Indonesia or something.
Gotcha.
Then the workmanship, maybe not the design, then you got something that's flawed. If you and like Fender there's no gnomes at Fender custom making switches. They just buy them on the market just like everyone else.
I wish
all
there
this
were
stuff's
gnomes.
made. Yeah, Fender gnomes that that someone like getting a little how people like to get on like internet fights or whatever. And I did one of these videos where I talked about Fender guitars because Fender used to be made in America only, and then they had the Japanese production, then they went to other kinds of Asia, and they built a factory in Mexico. And it was, Mexican Fenders are no good, American Fenders are the best. Well, the Mexican Fender factory is the largest Fender factory in the world. And they make most of the guitars that Fender makes. Not only that, but they make the parts that go to make the American guitars.
Okay.
So just because something is made in America doesn't mean that it's made out of American parts.
Yeah.
So when we're talking about like the jazz thing, for example, it could have a part that comes from Korea that's not quite a great part. So, but what can make it switch bad? Just either a bad design, bad materials, or someone did a bad job making it. So, and if you're evaluating anything, a car, a phone, a book, or whatever is it, there's everything kind of fits into that.
True.
Yeah. Okay. So we got another comment here. Are the ESP guitars any good? Yes, they're pretty good. You ever hear those? ESP?
ESP?
Yeah.
ESPN.
Read your mind. They know, ESPN. Yeah, they March Madness. Do you feel that Wormouth necks need fret crown and dress right away? That's a good question. Most people have no issues with the Wormouth neck. That's the last word I heard. So, what I'll say from one of the people I learned guitar repair from, he was like, any guitar that hasn't been level and crowned needs to get level and crowned. So basically, if you make a guitar neck and you put all the frets in, they use a big machine that goes and stamps all the frets in. The first time, it's easy to put them in. They go in, they're tension fit, and they snap into place. And then sometimes they come up a little, or they get a little misaligned, or you got to replace them. When you take them out, it's difficult to take them out, put them back in. It's more complicated. But so the idea is the first time they go in perfectly because it's computers and lasers and all this stuff involved. But there's always some little imprecision somewhere. If a guitar maker, a professional, guitar repair person, does what we call level and crown, which is you sand them all to a perfect height, and then you put the crown, the round shape, back into them all, because in case you sand a little off of one or other, it's going to play better. We're finding that it's more common for a guitar to show up with some imperfect frets in it, including, I didn't say this out loud, including Fender guitars. I know. And so we're Fender dealer. We're supposed to be like Fender great. And they're 80% great. Sometimes we have to do a little something to the guitars before we sell them. Yeah.
Wow.
So so Wormouth is a after what we call aftermarket manufacturer. They make necks themselves and sell them for people to put on their guitars, and they're fine. But any neck that's made by a computer could use a little,
Yeah.
a
Right.
little touch up.
Never even thought of that.
Yeah. But yeah, if you get buzzy frets, sometimes that's because there's a fret that's a little high or misaligned or that kind of stuff. Yeah. So sometimes it's, also we live in New England. There's a lot of seasonal changes that affect the guitar for sure.
Absolutely.
But sometimes you pick up your guitar like, oh my God, the strings are higher off than they were yesterday.
They get out of tune within like an hour.
Yeah, they go out of tune faster, or sometimes a year they're just perfect. I had a guitar that would go that like in the middle of winter when things dried out, the neck would go perfectly straight, and the strings would be just perfectly. You could just barely had to touch it.
In tune the
play,
whole winter.
In tune the whole time. And summer came and the thing went nuts.
Yep.
Neck bent, out of tune. Yeah, it's just some guitars. ESPN guitars, yes. Can I find your band on YouTube? Not yet.
Not yet.
But I just said earlier, I was like, you got to make videos.
Yeah.
This is a video world we're living in.
We definitely will.
That's coming up. All right. So to sum up, it's almost sum up time.
Okay.
So the summary is hit like and subscribe and notify and all that stuff that helps. Thank you for watching. Bad Favors with 2 S's at the end on Instagram. Go there, like it, check it out. And then from there, you'll be guided to YouTube and Spotify and all these things in the future.
To good new music.
So I would like to thank you.
Thank you
for coming and sitting in and talking about music and playing and all that good stuff.
Thanks for having me. It was great.
And I think that does it for today. It's wrap it up time. Thanks for everyone for watching. Watch the other videos here on YouTube. Check out Bad Favors. We'll see you back here next week. Stand by for the end.
Stand by.
Yeah, it's not over yet.
Oh my God.
It's not over until I press
What's gonna happen?